Okay, hey everybody, I'm here again to prove for a third time in a row that the NFL is still better than CFL. It always will be, and always has been. Alright, so here's history, and here's here's all of the NFL versus CFL matches throughout history. August 12th, 1950, game held in Ottawa, Canada. Giants beat the Ottawa Rough Riders 20-6. Next year, one day prior to that last meeting, same site, Ottawa, except Giants now destroyed the Rough Riders 41-18. 59, site Toronto, 1959, site Toronto. Chicago Cardinals 53, Toronto Argonauts 26. That's 3 for the NFL, 0 for the CFL. 1960, they're all held on the same dates, right? Don't mind the August and the date. Just a year. 1960, Pittsburgh Steelers wrecked the Toronto Argonauts 43-16. Next year, Toronto. They were all held in Toronto, and Ottawa and Montreal. All the games were in Canada. St. Louis Cardinals wrecked Toronto Argonauts 36-7. 1961, Montreal. Chicago Bears wrecked Montreal Alouettes 34-16. Alright, so that's 6 in a row that the NFL won versus the CFL. It wasn't until 1961 that the Helmets and Tiger Cats beat an NFL team. Funny thing, it wasn't even an NFL team, it was an AFL team. And when was the AFL ceased? 1970, when it merged with the NFL. So the AFL didn't end until 1970 when it merged with the NFL. That's what we have up to present day. So an NFL team has never been beaten by a CFL team, but an AFL team has been beaten by a CFL team. So that's still NFL 6, CFL 0, and then it's CFL 1, AFL 0. That's the series. So CFL still hasn't beaten an NFL team, just an AFL team. They're never going to beat another AFL team. So now we're going to go on to the seasons, and we're going to see how each team did each season. First, we're going to go to the 1950 New York Giants. Their official record was 10-2, so that's pretty good. And what were the Ottawa Rough Riders? What were the Ottawa Rough Riders' record in 50? 4-7-1. So they did crappy, but even if they did good, I'm sure the Giants would have won. Next year, same situation. Only thing is Ottawa did a little better, 7-5-0. That was their record. Giants did 9-1, a little worse. Yet they massacred them even worse the following year. So I thought they would do better the previous year. Whatever. Still won even better. 1959 Toronto Argonauts. They did horrible, 14-0. 1959 Chicago Cardinals. Chicago Cardinals did horrible. They did 2-10, and they still beat Toronto Argonauts. They did a little better than them, so it still makes sense. NFL, 1960 Toronto Argonauts. They did 10-4. They did better that year. In 1960 Pittsburgh Steelers, the team that had beaten the Toronto Argonauts that year, they did 5-6-1. So even when CFL is doing better in a season, the NFL is still doing better. Okay, the NFL is always going to be better. 1961 St. Louis Cardinals, they went 7-7. How'd the Argonauts do that year? 7-6-1. So they more or less did the same that season, but the Cardinals still murdered them. So 1969 Chicago Bears, they did 8-6. That's kind of crappy, but whatever. It's a winning season. Montreal Alouettes Montreal Alouettes that year doesn't show it because some of the teams aren't shown because they're kind of old, but it says it here. In 1961, the Alouettes hosted an exhibition game between them and the NFL's Chicago Bears, with the Bears coming out on top 34 to 16. 34 to 16, 1961, completely accurate to the website. 61, 34 to 16. And finally, the last team is the Buffalo Bills. And I want you to realize this. All of those teams, except for that one, were in the NFL. All these teams were in the NFL. All 6 of these teams, first 6, blue, red, blue, 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 and blue, were in the NFL. Except for the one team from the American side that lost, which was in the AFL. So you guys never beat an NFL team, a national football team. You beat an American football team. You never beat an NFL team. Right? Maybe you'll have a chance in the future because there's no more AFL, just NFL, but I really doubt that. And so the NFL is 10 times more talented than the CFL, and the CFL was never better than the NFL. So yeah. Look, and how did the Buffalo Bills do? 6-8, losing season. How did the Tiger Cats do? Let's see. It doesn't say, but they won 38 to 21. Believe me, that is nothing compared to the other 6 beatings the NFL teams put on the CFL teams. NFL was better in those days. CFL teams sucked in those days. It's the series is the NFL. The series between the NFL National Football League and the CFL, which is Canadian Football League, is the NFL leading 6-0. The NFL has won 6 games over the CFL. 6-0. 6 straight games. They've never played again. The series between the AFL American Football League and the CFL Canadian Football League is 1-0 CFL leads. So you beat an American team, just not a national football team. American team. Just an American football team. American, being an AFL, remember, AFL, not NFL. NFL has always been better. Get it straight. Not better than the NFL. Never will be, never have, still aren't. And, oh, excuse me, one more thing. Remember 1948? Brooklyn Dodgers, which used to be a football team for the AAFC, which was the NFL. That was the name for the NFL for 2 years. 1920, 1921. 1922, they switched the name to the NFL. Beat the Montreal Alouettes 27-1. And earlier, 1923, the only game ever hosted in America between Canadian and American teams. 3rd Army Camp Area, Team 55, Toronto Argonauts 7. So you lost. Sorry. Overall, Americans lead. The Americans lead 8-1. 8-1. 1-2, 6 up here, 8-1 use effect. And in the IFAF, which is present day International Federation of American Football, the teams with the most World Cups, so Japan and the United States, both have 2. And may I just remind you that USA slaughtered Canada 50-7 in the last IFAF World Championship game, which was in 2011. So Canada has nothing on us. The overall record between the U.S. and Canada in American football is 11-1. So that 11th one being actually 12-1. That 11th one being the 12th one being U19, The 11th one being, no, 2 U19s, and the 11th one being Women's World Cup, 66-0. Women slaughtered Canadian women, so still better.